Seattle, Washington. We are at the Washington Athletic Club for this Players' Championship finale between the two Irishmen, Paul Brady and Charlie Shanks. My name is Dave Vincent alongside David Fink here in the booth for the grand finale of this match. We'll have Emmett Pashot as the referee. Dave, I know you're frustrated that I did not put a tie on, but I still have time.
Okay. I'll leave that out then for you.
I know that we'll be breaking to the booth here so many times during this live broadcast. And don't hear the court sounds, but there they are. Referee giving the announcements.
Serving, currently ranked #1 in the world, from Belfast, Ireland, currently residing in New York City, Charles Shanks.
He actually lives in Hoboken, New Jersey, or something that sounds like that.
2 games to 15, win by 2. Tiebreaker to 11, win by 2.
It's actually Hoboken.
0-0.
What did I say?
Hoboken.
Oh, okay.
And Dave,
Side out.
Charles hits a beautiful serve there, but Paul just gets his hands on it. Paul has such
0-0.
strong and soft hands that he's able to do something with the ball. The X factor in this match, Dave, will be Charlie's serve and Paul's ability to defend that serve. If Charlie gets his serve going, he can score points against Paul. He can win this match if he gets his serve going.
0-0.
Charlie's got the all-around game.
It's a lot easier to get that serve going with a lesser player than when you're facing Paul Brady. And Dave, you know when you play him, everything seems to just tighten up. Your kill shots, your serves, your back wall game, everything changes when you're playing Paul Brady.
1-0.
That's the mental part of this game.
Two-0. Short.
That's going to be
I
appealed.
called it short. 1 agrees. Second serve.
And Charlie skips another ball in. That looks like just a little bit of nerves. Charlie also preparing for the
3-0.
national championships in Des Moines, Iowa.
Well, Charles is off to a terrible start here, Dave. He didn't make this many errors in his second and third
4-0.
pool matches combined. I mean, this is where you come back to that psychological edge, Dave, that Paul Brady has over Charles Shanks that he doesn't have over Luis Moreno.
5-0.
Luis isn't afraid of Paul. And Paul knows it, and I believe, Dave, it affects the way he plays against Luis. Now, here is the exact opposite, where you know that Charles
6-0.
is
Short.
probably somewhat intimidated by Paul. He's played him a number of times. They grew up together. He's never beat him.
Second serve.
I wouldn't say that Charlie looks up to Paul, but he knows just how great this guy is. And Dave, Paul looks fierce in all black.
7-0.
I mean, he looks like a guy you don't want to meet on the handball court or in the alley.
Yeah, this is actually a
Second
good look
serve.
for Paul.
Yeah.
I mean, Tiger Woods comes out with his
Side out.
red jersey on Sunday, but Paul Brady wearing all black. You don't want to see that at any tournament. And here's the gallery putting their hands together, with the exception of Sean Winning, who
0-7.
has his arms crossed. 0 serves 7. We're going to 15.
Point.
Charlie scores his first point.
1-7.
The winner of this match, Dave, will receive 15 ranking points. The loser, 12 ranking points. Remember, this is a race 15, which means it's 1.5 the amount of points of a normal race stop. Of course, we have our
2-7.
first 6 places already decided. That's a good serve from Charlie. He's got to take advantage of that, Dave, and that's not a good shot. Pinching the right corner high, now a big setup for Paul. I like that play from our ref. He lets the play continue. Paul makes a terrible hander, and we've seen that, Dave, from Paul throughout this event.
3-7.
He'll play 5 or 6 of the greatest points you've ever seen in your life and then kind of fall asleep a little bit. Makes a couple of errors.
Uh-oh, what happened here?
Paul's going to be okay there.
Well,
Foul?
Paul even kind of laughing just a little bit, but there's Mary in the far left there. Look at her face. She's watching Paul Brady and her future husband, Charlie Shanks.
They'll be married this August. Dave, I've been told that you're not on the guest list. I won't say who is, but someone in this booth is.
Okay. That's Mary Tallett.
7-3. Short.
And Dave, regardless of the outcome of this
Second serve.
match, Charles Shanks is our Race Freight 2 Player of the Year. That's a tremendous accomplishment. He'll put his name alongside Idaho Spud's Luis Moreno, who won it in the Race Freight 1. Now you'd assume, Dave, that, and that'll be a side out, you'll assume, Dave, that won't have a repeat Player of the Year with Charles Shanks moving back to Ireland and not competing in as many events. But, Dave, should we have that proposed Players' Championship, you might see Charles over here for most of the events, as well as Paul. Now, that's in the preliminary stages.
Well, we thought we'd talk about that this weekend with some of the sponsors from that proposed stage
3-7.
club, but we haven't had that conversation yet.
Dave, Charles off to a very slow start here. Airs like that, and he's still within striking distance at 7-3, but he's got to capitalize.
7-3.
He can't just give away points. And, you know, Paul's going to earn his points with serves like that, and you have to make him earn as many as he possibly can. Charles has already
8-3.
put 6 balls in the floor. And, Dave, I would call that a forced error. Now, that's not an unforced error. Charles had his hand on it, but a very difficult return.
9-3.
That was short.
I saw it good.
Oh, no.
Both disagree. Second serve.
Dave, you know, I was cutting the referees some slack because I thought, well, every referee's missing these short calls, so it must be hard to call shorts from up there. But, in fact, that's the best seat in the house to call shorts. So now I really can't give our referees a break.
So you're going to be more tough on these referees.
I have to be. I was up there. I experienced it. I walked
10-3.
in their shoes. Dave, at the conclusion of this match, we will be handing this beautiful silver cup for the Players' Champion on the court. Dave, I believe you'll be the one on that court
3-10.
alongside our sideline reporter, Tracy Davis.
How come you sound like Steve Irwin when he finds a crocodile? Dave, I believe you are the one
See it skip.
to go out there and get that croc.
Now,
Well, actually,
Paul,
I will not be the one.
Okay.
The official rule is you're going to go out and award the trophy to the
Second serve.
the Players' Champion, which will be Charlie Shanks. Now, what about the team trophy? We have all the team members here, and is that all finalized as well?
well, that will be finalized, Dave, but I don't have that spreadsheet.
4-10.
So that won't be revealed until Monday.
So we can't hoist the trophy then. That's frustrating. We have all the players here and everything, Dave. I'm really let down.
Well, Dave,
I was
There's
wondering if R2D2 could
there's a-
figure that out really quick.
there's a good chance, Dave, at the press conference tonight that will be revealed.
I don't think you need a spreadsheet for that. I think you just look at the rankings and
10-4.
add some
Well,
points.
Dave, I know that the Wax came in here with 134 points. I believe, Dave, that is on the message
Second
board
serve.
under Super Bowl Preview. And you'll go back there. You'll click on Super Bowl Preview on the message board, not that thread.
I knew that would make you mad.
It's frustrating.
Check it. $10-4.
Score here is 10-4 with Paul just so strong in this tournament.
I would have loved to have seen the Luis Moreno from games 1 and part of game 2 against Naughty today
4-10.
play against Paul Brady. Oh, an amazing shot there from Paul.
10-4. Tap.
And Paul hits a perfect shot there, but just comes up short.
4-10.
Dave, you've played a lot of handball and you've got a great serve. How difficult is it to keep your serve going when your opponents are returning it so well? And that was an awkward rally there. I mean, your opponents just seem to defend every serve that you hit. I mean,
it's really defeating for a server to have that happen to him, because then you feel like I've just lost all my weapons. It's like when
5-10.
you're playing Luis Moreno or Sean Lenny and they've got such great return of serves. You're like, well, I might as well just lob it to these guys, because I'm not going to get an ace off this power serve, and I'm just making myself tired. So it's very defeating. Terrible shot there from Charlie.
yeah, but not a good shot from Paul either. And you see Charlie using that cut open hand paddle. Perfect shot there from Paul.
Watch what Paul does here. Wow.
Set
Just
up.
unbelievable laser shot there from Paul Brady.
Well, that's one of the longest rallies you'll ever see in a Paul Brady match.
10-5.
16 shots. Normally, Paul takes care of business in under 5. And Dave, Charles just didn't get himself in a good position. Let's take a quick instant replay of that. That ball was way too close to Charles's body. I know he's using the Irish whip, but that ball almost hit him in the stomach as he was making contact. Such an easy shot for him, too. Look at this, Dave.
Yeah, really weird. Ball handcuffed him.
11-5.
I mean, he didn't even have any power on that because he couldn't extend at all. Nice return there from Charles. He's got a great roof game. He's able to hit that
Set up.
punch fist to the ceiling on the return of serve better than anybody on the Race for 8 tour. And that's a great equalizer.
5-11.
That's a good serve right there. Wow. Paul just pushes Charlie back.
Now, Dave, I know that Charles and Noddy are on the same team. If Charles loses this match, they would have taken 2nd and 4th. And I know you have that spreadsheet up, Dave.
Well, it's coming. I'm just watching this match here.
Set up.
And Dave, maybe we don't take a look at that crowd all packed in there.
You're watching the men's finals.
11-5.
Oh, and Paul dips
up.
it into the ground there, looking back. Don't know exactly what he just said there, but
You know, it's very difficult on this court, Dave, which I've stated is the best court I've played on, but when
5-11.
the ball hits the ceiling and comes off the back wall, it's hard to find it. And Charles is not sharp off the back wall here today. And that, I believe, is the strength of his game, Dave.
this is the finals of the Players' Championship.
11-5.
There's 2 things going on here for the viewers at home. We are crowning a winner of the actual
Short.
tournament. They will win cash, but then also awarding those in the top 8 in the final
serve.
race standings with a bonus check. And that will be rewarded and awarded here at the press conference following the finals.
And Dave, a huge congratulations to Andy Nett, who held off Emmett Peugeot and clinches a top 5 year-end ranking.
12-5.
That's a nice bonus check for Andy Nett.
Point.
Oh, inside out. I've seen that play so many times this tournament where the ball's only a foot or 2
13-5.
to Charlie's right, but Paul just freezes
Short.
him with that inside out swing to the right.
Check it.
Serving at 13-5, trying to take game number 1.
Second serve.
Now we're talking about the team standings. Paul Brady plays
up.
for the Salt Lake City Aces. Charlie Shanks plays for the Tucson Gunslingers.
5-13.
Great return there from Paul.
Gosh.
And nobody can hit that shot, Dave, in handball.
Paul's actually aiming for that front wall side crack. Paul's flexing that
13-5.
shattered right finger of his.
Chart. Second serve.
Charlie pushes Paul out of the server's box. Wow, nice little laser right there from Charlie Shanks. Gets the side out, now 5-13. You know, Paul Brady's coming over here to train for the four-wall nationals, but Charlie Shanks is looking at it the same way too. He gets to play all the top players.
5-13.
Dave, you're playing Charlie today when something very rare happened. Charlie has that long stride in the server's box. He served the ball and hit his own foot.
6-13.
And you look back and kind of smiled at Charlie after that, but that was a side out, not a short, but a side out.
I thought he served the ball into his foot.
He did, yes. Served it right into his own foot.
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
We saw John Bike serve one into his own leg in Denver.
Impressive.
Which I think is almost in a weird way harder to do.
13-6. Check it.
Paul Brady has a continual bruise back there.
13-6.
Thought that ball was short. No
I
call.
saw it good.
I saw it short.
One agrees. Point. 14-6.
Here it is, game point, and we'll take a break if Paul scores this final point. Actually, let's have Chris, our engineer, cue up interview that we have with Paul Brady. We'll do number 4.
Stop.
We had a series of interviews that we had with the players here when they first came to the Washington Athletic Club. And we're going to talk to Paul Brady here at the break about motivation.
It has, in recent years, it has got harder. You know, I've played in so many pro stops early in my career. You know, there's an element of burnout, so I try and pick just the big tournaments to come here. So you have different degrees of motivation depending on, you know, whatever the tournament is. So it can be hard at times. Certainly come back of a long year in the All-Ireland Championships. So for this weekend, and like I say, in the last few weeks, my preparation might not have been as focused as other tournaments. So I'm here to kind of kick-start and, you know, my preparation for the rest of the year, and you know, hopefully that motivation and that competitive instinct will kick in as soon as I get on the court. Like I said, I don't really know what to expect this weekend. But you're always motivated, like it's just that natural competitiveness that I'm lucky enough to have had, or whatever way you look at it. Sometimes it can be a curse because there's so much pressure all the time. But like I say, I'm hoping when the first ball is hit, I'm motivated. It's coming into it, I might not have been as motivated as other tournaments. So we'll see what it brings, and I'll react to whatever, whether it's a positive result or a negative result. I'll react to that, and hopefully that'll
14-7.
decide, you know, what way I train over the next couple of months.
It was Paul Brady catching us with our cameras right before he stepped onto the court. Don't quite know what that audible sound was in the back. Sound like an alien abduction, but Paul gets him. He takes the first game, defeating Charlie Shanks. We're going to take a quick 3-minute break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. For Dave Fink, Dave Vincent, stay here at racefor8.com.
Working and working out takes a lot of energy. That's why I drink Zenergy. Feeling fantastic and looking good has never been easier. Zions, extreme science for your active lifestyle.
Are you getting this, honey?
Oh, prime time. We are rolling.
All right, Mama's gonna bring it home. Mama's gonna bring it home. Okay.
Come on, watch this guy.
Oh, backwards.
Oh, don't. Oh.
It went into Bob and Carol's yard. Oh, no? Okay, here it goes.
Oh, no!
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
All right, let's see what you can do. Let's go.
They might surprise you. Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
At shelters, you'll discover healthy and loving animals just waiting to become a part of your family. Why wait? You can make a difference in the life of an animal. A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person and adopt your new best friend today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's one every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
Here we go. We're gonna make some juice.
It's gonna be good.
She's excited. A little bit of kale.
Please don't put this on line.
I'm putting it all over the line.
It's wet. It needs something. No, it'll go.
Don't break my juicer. Looks good.
You ready to try it?
Come on, baby.
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
It's okay.
You like it?
All right.
They might surprise you.
Hey, she took another sip. You saw it?
Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
So, what's it gonna be? We could ride bikes, skating, movies, zoo, whatever you guys want to do.
Can we just do this?
Yeah. We could just do this.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Get Charlie, Paul. Paul, could you get Charlie? Okay. You're serving, Paul. You're serving. And here's the ball. All right, we're about to start our second game. Paul is serving. Score is 0-0.
We're all tied here, starting off game number 2. Paul Brady up against Charlie Shanks, 0-0. Dave, the first game score there, 15-7. Is that correct?
That sounds about right, Dave.
1-0.
It didn't feel that close, though. Sometimes, you know, you have 15-7 games that maybe felt a lot closer, but that one didn't.
Well, Paul got up to 8 points really quick in less than 4 minutes. And then after that, the game really slowed down.
Paul had such an easy opportunity there to end that rally. He just blasted it too high off the front wall. I thought he'd shoot the right corner there, Dave. That's his best shot from that spot.
That was an amazing shot right there from Charlie Shanks.
0-1.
Charlie looks to the right. I think he's going to serve to the left. No, goes to the right. That's a long ball that hits that side wall. And
check it.
Charlie's actually sweeping to the left to get out of the way, and he actually gets in the way of the ball. Paul Brady says sorry.
0-1.
And a double fault. We've seen a lot of double faults here.
1-0.
In this event. Paul Brady now closing in
Good call.
on the Players' Championship. He's won everything else.
0-1.
Dave, when the Masters started at Augusta in 1935, and he fools Paul Brady, but Paul recovers, it instantly became the most elite and prestigious event in all of golf. Dave, I believe that's what's happened here with the Players' Championship, even though we're only in our second year. This is the one that the guys are aiming for.
Second serve.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And Dave, Paul Brady will finish 4th in the race standings for the season should he win this match. And he's only played in 2 events.
2-0. Sorry, 2-0.
If he wins this, he'll have won both events. Both of them worth more points than an ordinary race event. And of course, no race events are ordinary, Dave, because we're treated so well at every stop. But when I say ordinary, I mean traditional points. And Paul wastes a couple of opportunities again there.
Zero, 2. Hold it.
And already in this game, Dave, Paul has not relinquished a point yet, but he's
0-2.
not put away 3 or 4 very easy opportunities. And that's a nice shot from Charlie there.
No, Charlie's not going to go away. It's one of the things that he
1-2.
doesn't do. I mean, he really pushes all the way to the end, doesn't matter what the score is. He doesn't give up.
Well, you know, Dave, in previous matches with these guys in all Ireland finals, Charles has done pretty well in the first game, actually getting all the way to 18 and then losing the second game badly. Here, wasn't all that competitive in game number 1. Maybe he turns the tide here in game 2.
Yeah, possible.
2-1.
You know, Dave, you see a lot of guys on their serve going with the left, right, left, the 3-step. Paul Brady seems to take just 1 step, 1 long stride. Luis Moreno told me, Dave, that he likes to just feel like he wants to spread out as much as he possibly can. And, Dave, is that tired legs from Charles Shanks there?
Charlie looks really tired right now. Paul, on the other hand, looks like his first match.
3-1.
So I guess, Dave, the key to coming to an event is to not do anything.
Set up.
And just come in fresh. That's what Paul did. Dave, Charlie, very lucky there. Just barely clips the front wall, and Paul was up there.
1-3.
Just wasn't able to feather that ball back up into the corner.
Short. Second serve.
I was actually in a car driving with Paul Brady and Cavan, and we drove up to Queen's University in Belfast, and Paul played Charlie in an amazing match up there that was a 21-20 one-game match, and our cameras were on watching that amazing play right there.
Well, Dave, he just breaks over the top of that ball. Just a sensational left from Paul Brady. I mean, do you even say left? I mean, both hands are so strong. You might have the 2 best hands in the world. You might have the best right and the best left, is what I'm trying to say.
I knew what you were trying to say.
Okay. And Noddy now, Dave, taking pictures with a gentleman that was heckling him during his 3rd place final. But all seems to be well now. Much like my friend and I in Salt Lake City, Dave. We went out to the parking lot together, we settled our differences, and now we're actually best friends.
Just over. Both disagree.
That's handball.
It's so unique.
Second serve.
Oh, and Dave, Paul has a perfect look there. Just barely skips it. Those are misses I don't think you'll see Paul Brady make in 6 or 7 weeks at the Nationals with a little bit more preparation, Dave. He'll be a little bit sharper there. And you're not going to get free mistakes from Paul Brady like that. Let's take an instant replay of that last miss from Paul Brady. See if we can see anything that would have caused that ball to skip. Charlie gave him a huge setup.
15 seconds.
I don't know, Dave, if these guys remember that timeouts are only 30 seconds. Our referee should have told them that they only have 30 seconds. And here's this shot here, Dave.
That was a skip in, but you're right. I think he lifted first of all.
Serving.
But I've seen Paul lift and roll the ball out, that is.
It looked like he just lifted. He was standing up and just
Resuming
took it
play.
too nonchalant.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a little bit more aggressive.
I think
1-5.
nonchalant is exactly right.
How many more steps Charlie has to take when he plays Paul? I mean, you're watching Paul push Charlie, and Charlie's
5-1.
taking all these little pigeon steps,
Short.
trying to get to every one of the balls. Is that the pace that Paul is putting on this, or is he just catching
Second serve.
Charlie in the wrong place?
A lot of it has to do with the pace, but also the placement. Paul Brady knows exactly where you are on the court. He's going to make you run the farthest possible distance if he's not rolling the ball out. And Charlie just looks tired right now, Dave. He doesn't have the spring in his step.
6-1. Hold it.
Quick call from a referee.
Six, 1.
That could have been a screen call. Wasn't called, though. And Charles gets a strange bounce there. Does not make the adjustment.
7-1.
And Dave, much like our senior race freight championship,
Point.
the loser of the final actually went on to become the player of the year. John Bike is the senior race freight player of the year. He accumulated the most points, but he didn't win the senior player championship.
8-1.
Here it looks like Charles Shanks will not win the players championship, but collect
Point.
the player of the year.
Charlie
9-1.
looks like it's inevitable that that Paul Brady will win the actual tournament, but Charlie Shanks has already won the Players' Championship trophy as the race leader for the season, and that's the total combined points for all of the tournaments. Charlie Shanks has had a tremendous year. This is going to be a bittersweet moment for him. He's going to be labeled the Players' Champion for a full year, and he's going to hold that title,
1-9.
but also know that he lost the tournament to one of his biggest foes just down the street in Ireland, Paul Brady.
Great shot there from Paul. And Dave, you can see how heavy Charlie's legs are. And I'm not so sure, Dave, that that's from the accumulation of 3 matches.
9-1.
Just the pressure that Paul Brady puts on you every point. It really does wear you out. I believe, Dave, if these guys played a one-off match, Charlie might be just as tired. Maybe it was that grueling second game he played this morning. Really had to work hard for that one.
10-1.
We're at 10-1 here.
Short.
Well, that's second match this morning that he played.
Second serve. Set up.
Maybe that's the secret, Dave. Hit a huge off-speed back wall setup. Throw off Paul's timing.
1-10. Point.
Now Charlie scores that second point. Looked like he was overpowering Paul in that rally. Paul, uh-oh.
Want to take an injury?
Paul's getting a cramp here in his hamstring after it looked like some of the etching.
Ready?
No, there has been etching. Let's be honest.
2-10.
I tried to tell you not to etch, but when you start etching, I know you don't stop.
Paul's running more here after the injury than he did before, and there's a hand there from Charlie. This is where you need to put the hammer down.
10-2. Tap.
There's a side out here.
2-10. Point. Three 10.
Dave, Paul has not scored since he grabbed his hamstring. I believe that's the hamstring. He's also not hitting the ball quite as hard. Dave, could you see a scenario where Paul says, you know what, I don't want to risk this any farther.
Yes, I could.
And I'm just going to save myself for the Nationals if I can't get out of here with a pretty comfortable conclusion here.
Yeah, oddly you bring that up. I was thinking it
Yeah.
right while it happened.
I thought you might be. But Paul may be thinking to himself, well, you know, if I can win a couple of 2 or 3 shot rallies, I only need 5 more points to win this title. But you see, didn't quite get his feet in position for that fly kill opportunity. Didn't put it down. Charles hustled up there.
3-10.
And Paul made the error on the 5th shot of the rally. And does Charles smell blood here, Dave?
Well, if he is, he's missing some of these very important shots.
10-3.
I think he's smelling it. He just needs to go out there and score some points now. There's a lot of side outs here, though.
Second serve. Three 10.
Oh, Charlie jumps over that shot that Paul hit.
Three 10.
Good shot there from Charlie. And he's got the opportunity, and he takes it.
Now 4-10. This is going to start getting tighter now. Charlie's a fighter.
4-10.
It's a great shot from Charlie. Beautiful control.
You know, if Paul is, why doesn't he take a timeout if he has that little slight injury there, Dave?
Well, is that a pre-existing, or is that something
No,
new?
he could just take a timeout.
Okay. Well, it's only 30 seconds.
Referees allow him to go a minute, but my point is, it must not be that bad if he's not going to at least take a timeout.
Oh, terrible air there from Charlie.
10-5.
See what Paul does on the serve here.
Beautiful serve.
Too, yeah. Check. Can I see your gloves, Paul? They're wet.
There's going to be a glove change.
What was the call on that last? Was that a slide serve?
No.
That was an ace then.
Yeah, I believe
okay.
so. But
because I thought I heard our referee say something to the effect of, "I saw it," maybe implying I saw a slide.
Well, maybe you're right. That might have been what led to this glove change, and it.
Just judging by the conversation, I think that very well could have happened. We probably won't find out, though, for the next minute and a half, as this will be a 2-minute break.
That was the previous play there.
Okay.
And that's where Charlie was serving, and Paul hit that fish shot to the ceiling that got the side out. Paul goes in here to serve, and that ball looked like it did slide on the ground. But
yeah, I didn't think it hit the side wall.
yeah, it looks like it slid on the ground. Paul immediately looked at the ball.
Now, Dave, if our referee calls a slide on the ground, is that the right call?
Yeah, I think you can call it.
1 minute.
Paul Brady immediately looked at the ball and was shaking his head like, yeah, I saw it.
But I thought
too.
it was just a slide on the side wall. Is it just a slide in general on the serve?
Just a general slide.
Okay.
I mean, I think it was evident even on slow-mo there that ball slid on the ground.
Yeah, I didn't know if I would need to head over and talk to our referee, but I guess I won't. Dave, a lot of number crunching going on here in the booth.
A lot of erasing going on, so that sounds bad, I think.
30 seconds.
This almost feels like I just finished my 18th hole with this much erasing going on. You know, Dave, they say that that's what really makes a great golfer, an eraser.
10 seconds. Paul serving.
We wanted to congratulate John Bike for making the Senior Player of the Year. Although he lost this big championship to Andy Shad, he still was the #1 overall ranked player. And I thought Nani Alvarado Jr. still had a chance to get that.
10-5.
Well, had John lost yesterday to Matt McLaughlin, Nani would have won it.
Wow.
And Dave, that last point was replayed. It was a slide on the floor. So Dave, Paul Brady has still not scored since grabbing that hamstring. And it looks like he's not going to score in this rally either.
Boy, he has some ability to get a ball back, Dave. He has like the softest hands.
And Charlie has to do more of that. That's tired legs.
Well, those tired legs helped him get that paddle re-kill right there with the left hand in the corner.
Well, you know, Charlie may have tired legs, but Paul has some sort of strain or pull of that hamstring because he doesn't look like himself right now.
It's almost like you know it's going to pop and you don't want to pop it, so you're playing sort of half tempo not to get injured, which then results in you're playing a game of letting your opponent make the error.
Terrible shot there from Charlie. But you see a worse shot from Paul. And Paul goes inside out. Smart shot. And Charles needs more power on that shot. Both these guys exhausted here, Dave. Paul is definitely struggling with that hamstring. Charlie's struggling
10-5
with his wind and his leg strength right now. Nice return from Charlie. And Paul forces the air. Paul has not hit a kill shot, Dave, since injuring that hamstring. And I know you might be tired of hearing me talk about it, but it is relevant.
Well, you're going to continue to keep talking about it, so.
And that serve was short, and that will be overturned.
Let's see.
Both agree.
But it wasn't.
Wow.
And it wasn't.
12-5.
Well, you know, Dave, just because 6 eyes saw it one way doesn't mean it's right.
Second serve.
12-5 is the score here. Second serve. Paul Brady changing his serve up and gets a fist pump there. Now at 13, I believe.
And how nice is that, Dave, as a player to get a second serve Z-serve ace?
I don't know why Paul doesn't just stay with it.
I've seen Paul serve that Z-serve nearly exclusively. He beat Luis Moreno with nothing but Z-serves at the Nationals in 09 at Lowe's Cab, 21-7, 21-8, just using the Z-serve.
5-13.
Paul has such great hands, Dave. I would say that very similar to what Nani Alvarado Sr. had, where you crank a ball into him and he's able not just get his hand on it, but he puts it in the very best spot.
13-5.
That's the thing that's just amazing with Paul Brady. I think Dave Chapman had those hands.
Point.
He also had 3 pairs of gloves on each hand.
Here it is, game and match point for Paul Brady to win the Players' Championship.
14-5. Short. Second serve.
Dave, our sideline reporter, Tracy Davis, will be heading down there, and she will talk to Paul Brady. And that is it.
Great plan, guys.
And Charlie Shanks completely exhausted. Paul Brady wins the Players' Championship of the race for 8-2. Charlie Shanks, a tremendous season, Dave. 2 titles, the Player of the Year. But today was Paul Brady's day. He went undefeated in pool play, Dave, defeating Sean Lenning, Luis Moreno, and Andy Nett. Earned his spot in the final and then took out Charlie Shanks. Paul Brady lost just 1 game in 4 matches. That, of course, to Luis Moreno. Wasn't really pushed, Dave, in any game. And I'd like to hear Tracy ask Paul about that hamstring injury and about what he thinks about being the Players' Champion. Let's send it down to Tracy.
Thank you, Dave. Paul, congratulations on winning the Players' Championship here in Seattle. How are you feeling right now? It seems like you pulled a hamstring there in the middle of the second game.
Tweaked it. It's okay. I feel tired now at this stage. It's 4 tough games. You know, arguably 4 best players in the world in like 28 hours or whatever. So it was tough, but just glad to get the win. It's all about the nationals now. You know, that's why I came here. Kind of just get the games, and I'm sure I'll have to play a few of the lads in Iowa, but I'll be ready. You know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you mentioned that you played for the toughest players in the world right now. That's absolutely good training for you to coming up into nationals. Dave, I'm sorry, you had a question that you want me to ask Paul? Oh, he can't hear me there. So, I mean, you're one player of the Players' Championship here. How do you plan to celebrate tonight?
Just don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead. Just have a look after my leg at the minute. It's just not feeling great. So I haven't thought about that far. Just go down and do this press thing, whatever, and then see. Might go for a few beers. You know?
Okay, and then one more question before you go tonight. Oh my gosh,
what was that question?
Yeah.
What's the last question? Ask him what his favorite candy bar is, really quick.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, no one ever gets to ask it.
Yeah.
Ask it.
You know what?
Don't ask it.
No, ask it.
Tracy, you've done a wonderful job. Please don't.
Yes, ask it.
No, please.
What is your favorite candy bar, Paul? Do you eat candy bars? I don't think you eat candy bars with that physique.
Mars bar.
Mars. Okay.
I'm
Send
a fan
them off.
of that too.
Send them off to
okay.
the
Thank you
to
very
the
much for
locker room.
talking with me and spending time here in the court. Would you like to say anything to anyone back at home that might be watching? All right. Thank you. Thanks, Dave.
Paul's limping out of the court here, Dave. I know you seem embarrassed, but now we know that he likes Mars bars. This is what happens when you get that brain freeze and you don't know what to say to somebody, and you just ask them about the candy bar.
I wouldn't know.
What? Really?
Well, Dave, we had an amazing Race for 8 2 season. It started at the U.S. Open in Fountain Valley, California. We traveled thousands of miles, literally, to Texas, to Denver, to Alaska, to Tucson, to Seattle, to Salt Lake City. I know I didn't go in order, Dave, but we hit some of the greatest handball communities in the country. And, Dave, it's been a year that was filled with excitement, enthusiasm, and great handball.
Well, I think the season actually started in a lot of ways when we went to Ireland for the World Championship, and we brought the Race for 8 team to go promote the World Championships there and the Race for 8 Tour, and that was a fun experience. So you can add that one to the list as well, because that was let's kick off the Race for 8 Tour the right way. Let's all take the whole team, and pretty much everybody that you've seen here in this Elite 8 were actually invited over there to Ireland, and they got to play in the World Championships, experience that way of life. And then after that, we went to the U.S. Open and Tucson, and then Houston and Anchorage and Salt Lake City and Denver and here in Seattle, Washington. Had a lot of stops, a lot of air miles. It works out this way for those that are trying to still figure out the point system. Each one of those stops that we mentioned, Dave, act as qualifiers for this tournament, where we give players a chance to play in a tournament. They gather points, and those that have the top 8 points in the season then are invited to Seattle.
Right.
It's a unique format in the sense that no other tournament in handball really works in that sense. But also, we tour the country, so those in far places have a chance to witness some of their favorite pro players, hang out with the pros. This is a new generation of player where we go to these towns, Houston, Salt Lake, and Denver, and Anchorage, and the pro players are hanging out with the sponsors, they're rooming with them, and they're doing clinics along the way. It's been just a remarkable season for us. I hate to wrap it up, but you know, we still have that press conference coming up around the corner. Race for 8 season's really not officially over until that all the checks are handed out, and that press conference gets kicked off here in about 15 minutes or so. on one of the lower floors. So, you know, we still have more going on with the season. We have to award the checks and give out these big trophies that we have on our desk here.
Well, Dave, if I don't get a chance at the press conference tonight, I would personally like to thank you for all that you've done for this Race for 8 tour, putting together all these stops, coordinating all these different venues and players, traveling to all these different locations. It's been truly an amazing experience, not only for myself, but I can speak on behalf of the rest of the players, Dave, who have dedicated themselves to a sport that they love and are fortunate to be able to travel from place to place and actually earn a little bit of money playing this game. And of course, Dave, we want to thank our sponsors, Fred Banfield, who is the reason we're able to do what we do at the WPH. He just loves handball. We've got other wonderful sponsors in Tucson and throughout the country as well. And Dave, I know that the WPH has a lot of great things on the horizon. There's a great development plan in place with the WPH. We'll be traveling to Southern California for a lot of 3-wall big ball stops, including the Venice Beach 3-wall big ball nationals, which is in just 3 weeks. So there's a lot of great stuff. And before you know it, Dave, we'll be back on the race tour in October.
I know, it seems
in
like
Coeur d'Alene. And Dave, believe it or not, that's going to happen like that. I'll be on vacation until then, and I will see you at the Plumber event. Just make sure you send those paychecks. Just have them forwarded.
Paul Brady takes down Charlie Shanks 15-5, 15-7. I might have had that score in reverse, but he does win the actual Race for 8 stop number 7 tournament. But the Players Championship goes to Charlie Shanks. He is the Players Champion. Now, last year it worked out as such that Luis Moreno won the tournament, also was awarded that trophy because of that win. It came down to that real close race. We had a close race here as well in Seattle, but that was all kind of came to an end when Sean Lenning lost on that first opening day, and Luis Moreno lost as well, and so then we didn't have any upsets here. Charlie Shanks wins the Players Championship for the year. He'll have this nice trophy that we'll present at that press conference.
Dave, a lot of scenarios had to fall into place for Charles Shanks not to win the Player of the Year. Charles would have had to not advance to the semifinals or to the third place match. He, of course, did. He went undefeated in his pool. He validated his #1 ranking, and he closed out the year as the #1 player. Last year, Dave, he was the most inconsistent player on the tour. He was the only guy on the tour that lost in every round of race play. He lost in the round of 16 a couple times, in the round of 8, the semifinals, and the finals. This year, Dave, very consistent. He did lose one time in the round of 8, but all of his other stops, he was either in the semifinals or finals or winning. So Charles Shanks was able to bottle up whatever made him so good last year in those couple of tournaments where he was in the finals and bring that to every stop this season.
We're going to wrap it up from here, Dave. Good analysis. Thank you for your hard work at this tournament, but also throughout the Race for 8 season, and also all of those sponsors and those that make it work for us behind the scenes, like Chris Garrad and Justin Garrad, Linda Manning, Omar Lemus, as well as Ben Garrad. The whole Garrad family, in fact, is on the payroll. I want to thank them for their help with what we do. Jeff Kastner working behind the scenes from time to time for our group, plus Dave Fink, you and those that your support group that allow you to come in and referee and coordinate and do the rankings and the live broadcasts and of course all the help that you do behind the scenes, writing stories and all that stuff. We do appreciate it. Really do appreciate it. We are going to say goodbye for now, and as we wrap up this race season, we will have a press conference with the players in about 20 minutes or so. You stick around here at racefor8.com. More live streaming action. We're just not going to say goodnight. You stick around. Thank you for tuning in at racefor8.com.
Are you getting this, honey?
Oh, prime time. We are rolling.
All right, Mama's gonna bring it home. Mama's gonna bring it home. Okay.
Come on, watch this guy.
Oh, backwards.
Oh, don't. Oh.
It went into Bob and Carol's yard. Oh, no? Okay, here it comes.
Oh, Mom!
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
All right, let's see what you can do. All right, let's go.
They might surprise you. Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.